What's up, y'all? It's your boy Mighty Moth here, back with another video. The bow you see before you is the result of 500 Diverinos, literally just set on fire for no reason, trying to get this bow with +2 additional arrows to be moderately decent. Which we achieved, but we weren't satisfied with because we thought it was too easy, so we were trying to craft something that we could really get some money out of, which was a mistake. So with this crafting stuff, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. Sometimes you have to assess your investment and see how much you could get out of it. Here we have a tier 3 bottom with crit and crit damage, both tier 3. So the odds of us really getting anything over like 300 or 400 divines was pretty slim. So once we reached that point of investment, we should have stopped. But we didn't. So without further delay, I'm going to get into the video, and I've trimmed the fat, so you're just getting me chaos orbing, and I'm going to speed some of them up that are too long, and show you step by step how you could go about doing this, but also I'm going to explain why you wouldn't want to. So, if you start with the fracture of the fires 2 additional arrows, the problem you're going to run into is trying to keep the crit. For one, getting the crit, and then trying to keep it. Now, something you should know is the fires 2 additional arrows is the only eye level 82 modifier that can even roll on a suffix. Well, I think there's other suffixes in the game, but on the bow, as far as I know, it's the only one. Where you run into an issue is crit is eye level 73. So any modifier that is higher than that, which is basically every flat damage, elemental or otherwise, at tier 4 or higher, is going to be a higher weight than the crit. So if you're trying to whittle, you're going to waste way more currency having to buy 2 omens to do the prefix and the whittle. So there's ways you can go about trying to get it done, but there's no real good way. My suggestion to you from my experience and from talking to others, just put that bow that you fractured the additional arrows for up for sale with only that on it. Try and get you some money out of it. And then buy you a crit fractured bow and start from there. Because I can promise you, as you watch this video, you're going to feel my pain. And it's gonna be a long journey to get to a, what you would say is dog water bow. There's a lot of RNG involved. So if you fracture the crit, you guarantee the additional arrow and the crit damage bonus. Because the crit is fractured, and then you roll the additional arrow, and it cannot be removed with a whittle because there is nothing on the bow that is going to make it higher than that additional modifier. So what that means is when you put the other suffix on, you can whittle that suffix until it's crit damage. And then you're done. You're good. But then also it still comes into play of trying to get the prefixes rolled and the crit on there. So I think my suggestion would probably be to do the crit bonus. Either finish your suffixes and roll the prefixes and accept your fate that you might have to use double omens, or save the last suffix for last. If you roll something decent, keep it there, whatever. But as you can see, we've rolled a ton of chaos. We have not gotten anything worth using, so we're going to roll some more. And I'm going to speed some of this up so you don't have to grunt through all of this, but you'll see my face again during the highlights. So I'll talk to you then. Okay, now for the next step. So once you get an acceptable roll of crit, you're going to go here and you're going to want to only put on a suffix. So we're going to try and roll the crit damage now. So you'll do this, you'll hit it with an exalt, and you'll pray that it rolls crit damage. And as you see here, if not, then chaos till I get crit again. It doesn't. Didn't get it. So we annul. What can we do? Crit chance is gone. We annul it off, and we get back to work. What you could do is if you annulled it and you kept the crit, you could repeat the exalt, annul 50-50 chance. If it keeps the crit, repeat the exalt, and do that back and forth. It's cheaper than trying to just whittle that suffix over and over. You're maybe in the long run gonna save about 50% of your currency because you're bound to get lucky eventually. But with whittling, it's like 5-6 divine a roll, so you better hope you hit it the first try. Here we go again. Exalt, going in. Accuracy, light radius. Fuck off. And the crit's gone. Starting over. Alright, so here we wanted to settle for a tier 1, but we hit tier 3, so we exalted it because we were tired of wasting currency. We hit critical damage bonus. The problem with this is, like I said earlier, which I misspoke, I didn't mean that they would be higher, but a tier 1 is eye level 73. This that was on the bow, which is what I meant to say, is eye level 44. So anything that is tier 5 or higher on the prefixes is going to be like eye level 46. So it's actually going to stay over either of those crits, the crit damage or the crit chance. So you're going to have to use 2 omens on every prefix roll. So what can we do instead of whittling and using both omens? Well, what we can do is we can use sinistral annulment. And coupled with that sinistral annulment, you can use the omen that of greater annulment, which allows it to take off 2 modifiers. So then you find yourself in a position where you exalt. The prefix is on. If you don't hit anything that is worthwhile, then you double omen, annul them off, call it a day. So that's what we're doing here. We have a few greater annulments, a few sinistral annulments, and we double it up, boom, take them off, and then we continue that process until we get something moderately decent.
5 more attempts. That's it. That's it. 5 more attempts, and I'm done. I'm serious this time. Nah, fuck it. We'll get 28 of them. Let me double check. 350. Okay. Wow, they just keep getting better. The tiers just keep getting lower. What the fuck? Okay, we got a tier.
At this point, we probably could have stopped and sold this for like some divines and tried to recoup some of our money, but we continued. Now, here
Okay.
we end up rolling tier 1 fire on the weapon, and I couldn't save the video of when we hit the tier 1 fire. But what we had to do from that point was attempt to at random hit that fire because we couldn't whittle it. And with that fire on there, it will never sell. And we can't just keep whittling and then once we get another tier 1, then do a 50-50 chance or a 33% chance. We had to just shoot for it. And it sucks because even with that fire and on there, we could have sold the bow probably. So now we're looking at a tier 1 lightning and a tier 1 fire on this bow with another kind of meh stat. We again probably should have stopped, but did we? Did we listen? No. And here we are. We had two tier 1 elementals with 134% increased fizz damage. Again, we could have stopped, but no, because at this point we're like 350 divines in, so we had to keep it pushing. Now, we let it marinate for a little bit, we put it in the stash, and then we continued cracking at it again later. So now we roll it again, we whittle, we hit dog shit, and then you just continue this process, and it's one of those moments where you have to ask yourself, am I in too deep? Did I bite off more than I can chew? Should I have stopped a long time ago? Probably. But we got the fire damage off there, and then we started seeing signs that it was going to get better. And then it just slowly got worse. Because now, what's the issue? We have these flat damages that are actually a higher level than our percent increased fizz. So now we have two tier 4s, well, three tier 4s. So we had no choice but to just knock that fizz right off there because what else can you do? There's no other way but taking it at random. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the headache when it comes to these bows. So if you ever want to craft one, make sure you get crit on it. You already know what it is. You are enough. Stay blessed. And as always, stay mouthy. We'll see you on the next one.